Did you watch The Widower?
I did watch The Widower.
Okay, tell me what you thought of The Widower.
The Widower...
So, shall I build... I'll build it up, shall I?
Build the audience up.
Okay, so The Widower is the latest drama from Jeff Pope, who wrote Appropriate Adult and Mrs. Biggs, and for the big screen, Philomena with Steve Coogan. He's obviously specialises in these real-life dramas. We're getting the Cilla Black biopic from him soon as well. This
Really?
one...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's doing that again with Sheridan Smith, which will be their third collaboration, because she was in this as well.
Oh, she was in Mrs. Biggs.
Yeah. That's why I said it would be their third collaboration.
Yeah, I was just clarifying the audience, because I knew that.
But this was about a man, Malcolm Webster, I believe his name was. Is that right? Played by Reece Shearsmith. He... now, the thing with this was that we didn't really get to know a lot about him before he started drugging his first wife. He liked to buy expensive clothes.
Well, you knew he had a problem with money, didn't we?
Yeah, he had a problem with money, but he didn't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
So he started drugging his first wife, played by Sheridan Smith, and then eventually, spoiler alert, bumped her off, hence becoming the widower. And then he meets another woman, and they move to New Zealand briefly.
He meets her in Bahrain.
He meets her abroad, and then they move. She's from New Zealand, and then he moves back to Scotland for a bit, I believe. And my thoughts were that it was just all a bit too moody. There wasn't anyone you could sort of care about or root for. Sheridan Smith was completely wasted. She was basically asleep for most of it.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Wasted.
Yeah. Yes. She was sleepwalking her way through a performance.
Yes.
But I love Reece Shearsmith. As you know, me and Luke loved Inside Number 9 recently, and I'm a massive League of Gentlemen fan. And I thought it'd be interesting to see him try and do something dramatic. But I never really believed him in the role. And I think to make this work, because Malcolm is the only person that you follow throughout, it had to be someone who could bring some sort of conviction to the role, and I don't think Reece Shearsmith did that, unfortunately, and I think that's a shame. I mean, the things I liked about it were the where he actually finishes off Sheridan Smith, the car crash thing, where he just suddenly swerved off the road. That shocked me, because I didn't realise that was coming, and I think that was the one moment in the programme that I liked. Gary, your thoughts?
Well, I liked the sort of tempo of the show. It was fast, but without being sort of breakneck. You know, the story moved along quite quickly. You saw quite a lot in quite a short space of time. And I think Sheridan Smith was dead before 30 minutes, as you say. You know, quite underused.
I didn't think that worked. Yeah, but again, I don't know if that's necessarily a plus point for me, because I would have liked to have known more about
the bigger name of the two.
Yeah, but I'd like to have known more about his motivation as well before he started doing all this.
Well, I think you got two little hints. You got one was him drugging the child in the hospital, showing that he has a deep knowledge of what drugs can do as a nurse. And obviously, he has a high irritation factor. He was very irritated by this child, and I think really by Sheridan Smith did. As you said, there was that wonderful scene where they're building fire, and he talks about the clock, and he says, "Take your hand out your pockets,"
He's
and
just
then
very
when you got
controlling
to see him with his father. Yeah, then when you got to see him with his father with his second wife, I think you got a little bit of where his conflict comes from. He's obviously. His father is obviously very controlling, and obviously this is probably where his motive comes from, isn't it? Is that relationship with his father? I mean,
I hope that it sort of develops, more. I mean, this third episode coming tomorrow night, second episode with his third wife.
Yeah,
is played by Archie Punjabi, who's in The Good Wife as well.
Oh, right.
Should be good, because I think she's a good actress. She was in The Fall as well as the pathologist.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm willing to give it another go, because I mean, Luke's a big fan of this as well.
Yeah, there's one strange thing that I thought Luke would like. I didn't think Luke would like the talking to the camera. that Reece Shearsmith does. Well, he's not really, but he is. He's talking to the wives when they're asleep, but effectively he's talking to the camera. That sort of breaking the third wall, the fourth wall thing. So, I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, again, like you, I'll probably give it another go, but I'm not going to watch it live.
I mean, it's only a three-part. It's only a three-parter.
It's
so
definitely going to be something I'm going to record and watch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and brave of ITV, capitalising on the success that they had with DCI Banks, they've tried to retain that audience. So, good on them. I mean, because
this is going up against the last 3 episodes of Silk.
Nothing groundbreaking. Yeah,
no.
nothing groundbreaking, but I quite liked the plot. I can see this guy definitely has a style. There's definitely similarities between.
Yeah. But I think whereas Mrs. Biggs, you wanted to follow, Charmy, and you wanted to follow, what was her name, Janet in Appropriate Adult, the Emily Watson character. There was no one really to make that connection with here. There was no one, you could follow all the way apart from Malcolm, and he was, essentially the villain of the piece. And what I meant by
you're not supposed to like
not knowing his motivation, it takes out of it. I mean, contrast that. I know it's a bit of a different beast, but the Americans, even though the main couple are fighting against America, you still like them. You're still rooting for them because you know where their motivations are. And I don't think Jeff Pope has established that with Malcolm. And even though he is doing these horrible things, if there was some concrete reason for him doing that, then there might be more of a wish to follow him. And I think the only reason we're watching this is to see his ultimate downfall, which will happen at some stage.
Well, that's right. We assume that comes in the third show. So.
Yeah.